Okay, there's two ways we can go today.
Only?
There are two ways we can go today. Yeah, I can do my presentation, or we can do one of. Where did it go? Um, one of the long form, long videos, 2 hours and a half. We can speed up to 125%, and it will fit into 2 hours. This is two talking heads talking about this topic. They are greatly respected and the gurus of this idea. And the thing is, it's 2.5 hours and they talk continuously. There'll be few breaks and no questions because they're not here. Or I can give my presentation, which is little bits and pieces, some of them from this long video. So you get to choose.
I like option 2.
Me too.
I mean, we can always watch that other video.
You can watch the long form video by yourself, and it's superb. I'm not sure how.
Do you want to put it in the Zoom or put it on the Meetup so that
It's
we
on-
have access to it?
It's on the list.
Okay.
The list has 5 videos at the top. I said we're not going to do.
Well, Tom,
And
if you want me to, I can take that. Tell me which one it is that you want to do, this long one, and I'll
Yeah.
put it in the chat.
oh, well, I can do that. If I can find it. I was using my wife's PC yesterday, and then she used it last night. You all understand that problem, sure.
We do, yes.
I've got longevity expert future you is begging you to watch this. Dr. Peter Attia.
Attia and Chatterjee.
And then there's the roundtable about exercise. And there's
where did?
Now I see Huberman here. Is that Andrew Huberman?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm familiar with him.
Where did?
He's a Stanford guy. And then there's the NA Sports Future of Fitness Miller. Future of Fitness Miller.
Yeah, that's a brief roundtable about a bunch of exercise people. Where did?
Now the one with roundtable is 2 hours and 30, and the Atta and Huberman is 2 hours and 50. Those are the long ones.
Yeah, there are 5 of them there, from 2.5 hours down to a half an hour. I'm trying to find. Where did?
Longevity expert, the future you is begging you to watch this. Attia and Chatterjee has more data and better presentation than I can do today.
Yeah, that's
the first one.
Yeah, that's.
Post that to the chat.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
What is it? There are days when I absolutely hate Windows helpfulness. It thinks I'm trying to do my taxes. our taxes.
Well, one of the things that I think, I don't want to sound like I'm gloating or anything, but um, for years, even back in the CRT days, I've been using two monitors because I had to. You know, screen real estate was a prime commodity when you're doing animation and graphics.
Yeah. Oh, I have two monitors, but at the moment it's keeps trying to. I'm not sure what it's trying to do.
So I've posted that video to the chat.
Thank
I can
you.
I can post other ones if you want me to.
Well, people can come to the meetup site and get the whole list, so that's probably not necessary. One of my screens has been captured by a spreadsheet.
I came across a new interesting character that produces really nice videos on YouTube. His name is John Morello, and his forte is design, um, product design, graphic design, and so on. And I think I sent out a video to all of you to all of you on my list about how hard it is to make a toaster. And that's kind of the title of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you know, you've heard this. I'm sure you've heard the saying something like, "If you want to make an apple, you have to create the universe," or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's not easy, and it's a very long and explicit discussion. He even talks about pencils in the fight for the fight for graphite for pencils during the um, French Revolution with Bonaparte and the 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 English. I think he said I think the English had the most lead or graphite for lead, but there were literally wars being fought over who gets the graphite for pencils, and because it was an important tool for doing warfare, for sending messages and so forth. Um, but and the other thing he points out, which is really interesting, is that he said you don't need a toaster to make toast. You can do it on a stove with a frying pan. But
Mm-hmm.
the utility companies needed you to make toast during the day so they could sell electricity all around the clock. So there wasn't the need for the toaster was not a need for the consumer to make toast. It was a need for the utility companies to sell you power.
Some of the early toasters, early electric toasters, looked very much like toasters that were used in a fireplace. The thing with the four flaps and stuff, you would put your bread in there and then you could put it in the fireplace or in the chimney.
Right. Well, I remember when I was a kid, my mom had this unit that you could just sit over
Over a burner.
over a burner, and it would hold the toast at an angle um, and
Mm-hmm.
make toast that way.
We had one of those up at Pipe Lake Cottage.
But this video, I can find that video and post it to the chat if it's at the it's basically it gets into the whole shipping issues and just the availability. I mean, I guess you could say he gets into the supply line, the octopus of supply line sort of uh, discussion.
Well, the pricing on new PCs has gone totally crazy. What this has to do with the situation with China is a good question. An over-the-counter cuffless blood pressure device.
I thought that might be a random bit that might be applicable to this particular discussion.
That's going to be coming out in smartphones very quickly.
Yep. But it's coming out as a standalone wrist monitor next year, apparently.
Yeah, that would help in all of this stuff about managing exercise and longevity.
If you're interested in reading through the discussion, apparently there's some questions about calibration.
Yeah, there would be.
So
There are questions about calibration of cuffs. You have to put it in the right place on the arm, and you have to pump too fast or pump too slow. You goof up blood flow in the arm, and then the pressure goes wonky, and it's a skill.
Well, what I remember about the old-fashioned blood pressure cuffs is that before the invention of Velcro, the old-fashioned blood pressure cuffs used to have rows and rows and rows of little hook and eye catches.
Mm-hmm.
And Velcro changed all that.
Yep.
And my father, who was a doctor, has told me about the days when he was a teen. And if you gave blood, what you did is you had the patient lying on a cot and the donor lying on a cot beside the donor. Yep. And you ran a needle and tubing from one set of veins to the other set of veins.
I must be as old as your dad because I saw that in the hospital when I was like 6 years old.
Wow.
He brought in a brother or whatever and hooked them up. And
yeah.
Yep.
And the person who was running the blood donation had a little roller device that they used to move blood through the tube.
Mm-hmm.
The donor to the donee. And
yeah.
It was quite a personal experience.
I was not taught that in boot camp. In one of my go-arounds through first aid training.
You were not taught to give blood transfusions that way?
I was demonstrated, but I wasn't supposed to watch.
Oh.
But we had plasma.
Well, and of course, they did matching for blood type by using like a saucer or an ashtray.
Mm-hmm.
And you put some of the patient's blood on there and then drop a couple drops of the donor's blood. And if it didn't all coagulate, they were okay as a donor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that I was taught.
Quick and dirty blood typing.
Yep.
Well, you've
Well,
got
it was blood compatibility is what it was, not typing.
Right. You didn't really care what type.
Right.
well, you got an awful lot of blood from type O's. Type O being the universal donor.
There you
Yep.
go.
And what is it? AB is the universal recipient.
Yep.
And of course, we all had it on our dog tags, so
Yep.
it wasn't a secret. I still can't believe
Nope.
people that are 70 years old and don't know their blood type. I go, really? It's like my service number.
Hmm.
I learned it in boot camp. I already knew it.
I have to think about it to bring up my service number, but I can.
Oh, pre-hypnotic suggestion. The drill instructor said, "This is your service number. You'll remember it on your deathbed." Yes, sir. Aye, sir. 213-8713. I cannot get that out of my brain to save my soul.
Do you think it would save your soul if you could get it out of your brain?
I don't know. It's just part of me. I know my driver's license, RO128473. I don't ask me why I know that. I don't know anything useful. Well, sometimes the social number is useful.
Does anyone actually have any random bits for this morning?
This is sort of past medicine, random bits, rather than future.
By the way, David, I don't know what you're doing right, or I cleaned the wax out of my ears. I hear you very well this morning. I'll say it's probably at least 50% me on the given day.
I was just going to say, this is not random. It's relevant to what Tom's going to talk about today. But when a smartwatch estimates your age health age, basically I think it's looking at the VO2 max, and it's kind of an estimate based on heart rate,
Yeah.
and a bunch of other things. And
Yeah.
apparently it could be kind of off, but it as it collects more data, it can kind of improve too. So your age estimate might be changing just because the watch is getting smarter and learning more about you.
Yeah. Well, it's had several updates over the year I've had it, but it was quite firm that my medical age was 70, and then it oh, that was just start. It's 5 minutes to.
By the way,
I left.
I have to leave early, so I apologize for that.
That's okay.
And take
You
your
had-
waterfall with you. I'm hearing that waterfall. Sounds nice, but
Not me.
I don't know where it's coming from. Now it's gone.
David.
Might be David.
Might be David.
There are several.
Probably
I was leaving Tai Chi and walking up the stairs from the gym, and all of a sudden my watch went beep, 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 and fireworks and stuff, and congratulations. And what? You've lowered your medical age to 69. What? But that's what inspired me to do this presentation. It's done by various measurements that the watch can take. They've charted millions of people, of course, and you get all of these curves. And you look at the curves and you match to the published databases and say, someone with this set of curves is this medical age. Not guaranteed, but that's, if you're in very good shape, you're going to measure lower. If you're in very bad shape, you're going to measure higher. And if you exercise properly, you can slow the decline. All of these things decline, some of them very, very slowly, some of them very steeply. And you can actually reverse some of them a little bit. Mostly what you can do is you can slow the declines. So instead of coming down, it's just barely coming down. And the watch says, you're saying your curves now match someone who is 69, not someone who is 70. And since I'm 78, I patted myself on the back and said, you're doing something right. It then later said, if you exercise properly, you may be able to lower it to 61, which strikes me as, well, that would be nice, I suppose, but I'm not sure the exercise regime would give me the time to appreciate it.
And can I ask you real quick, how much of this is snake oil? Are they trying to sell you any products based on this or services?
Yes and no.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, there is no yes and no. That's a yes. That's fine, and that's good. I'm not knocking that model.
The new.
Please raise our hands when you have questions.
Okay. All of this is actually stuff. The information and stuff is old gym rumors from when I was a kid and in boot camp. If you do this, you're going to live longer. And it seems to be working. You can now measure a lot of things that we used to guess at. And so we can say, if you jog like this, it may have this effect. And if you jog differently, it may have this slightly different effect. Which one do you want? And choose your jogging style. Yeah, I was being told that in the 2000s, except that it was mostly people guessing, although there was some athletic training. But if you look at current records, how they're being beaten. Somebody a year ago ran a marathon in less than 2 hours. The what? That's.
Did he collapse and die at the end?
No, he did not. But you can't do that. Well, if you practice and you are as skinny as a rail, not carrying an ounce more than you have to. He probably had a couple ounces he didn't need, but not very many. Yeah. And weightlifting records. People are doing weightlifting things that were fantasies when I was deeply into that. Dean, you had your hand up.
Well, no, I was first.
Oh.
So I guess my comment is that I believe what these watches are measuring basically would be cardiovascular age.
Yep.
So So if you have a good respiratory system and you oxygenate your blood well and all that kind of stuff, that's what it's measuring. It doesn't measure strength
No.
or a number of other factors that could affect your age, you might say. But that is a good measure of how healthy you are. It's just not a complete measure.
No. But Eric.
Yeah, there are sets of blood markers you can get now that are purportedly essentially the same thing, and they may be somewhat more accurate.
Oh yeah.
And also there are people with just physically, genetically different metabolic pathways that can just run all day practically. So
yeah. When I got out of the Corps, I was running 20 miles a day. I'd jog up to the theater. People took a break and ate donuts and ate coffee, and I'd go out and run around the square, which was 3.5 miles. Do it 3 or 4 times a day. That's when I was a skinny thing, 32-inch waist, weighed 180 pounds. Those of you who know me for a long time know that there was a time when I was twice that. Almost exactly. Yes, Dean.
Yeah, and running, it also, for many people, puts wear and tear on their joints that they may pay for later in life, but they'll reap the other benefits. So
I think walking, therefore, is a little better overall.
Fast walking.
That's saying intermittent walking is the best.
Yep.
Or over irregular terrain, up and down hills and so on.
Alternating fast and slow.
Yeah.
So to begin, since we're going to do the Thomas Talks version.
What's first?
The first one is Fact You die young as late as possible. We might not watch all of this one, but it's kind of a motivator.
I'm going to go on to I'm going to mute my audio first, and then I'm going to turn it on.
Yeah, good stuff. So how many in this room of 12, we had 12, now we have 11, can do 15 reps of their body weight bench press? He is talking to 40-year-olds, and if I could, well, I could likely do that when I was 40, but he's not really talking to seniors. And then real quick, the genetic aspect and everything else. My grandma, born in 1898, lived to be 97. She moderately smoked and moderately drank all of her life because it made her happy. But she was also raised on a farm in Minnesota. So farmers carry and all that. She toted a lot of milk buckets and hay and whatever. Yep.
Someone asked me how to do a farmer's carry if you didn't have a gym. And I said, you go to Menards and you put 4 bags of salt for your water softener, and you put 2 in one hand and 2 in the other, pick all 4 of them up and walk. That's a farmer's carry. That's a farmer's carry.
I call it a Vietnam carry.
Yeah,
we would have to carry 4 5-gallon jerry cans, and we always hoped we would get the gasoline because it's a bit lighter than the water, and we would carry two in each hand. We would dead carry those at night, walking over rocks and through rice paddies, and just, and it was a competition. How far can you carry this without, and it wasn't just a competition, it was also survival. But
Yep.
yeah, but I mean, today I can't even imagine that. I put gas in my motorcycle. It was 2-gallon can, had my brother hold the funnel. Well, that was a struggle. I used to carry,
Yeah.
you can do the math, 180 pounds. And I don't probably weighed 145. I went to Vietnam buff at 185, came back at 135. I lost 50 pounds in Vietnam, but I was wiry and tough.
Yeah. There are a lot of ways to exercise your body besides going to the gym. And it just takes doing them. A year, 2 years after I was out of boot camp, I weighed 180 pounds, had a 32-inch waist.
How tall are you?
6'4". 5 years ago, I was 6'3.5", and I weighed 360 pounds.
Wow.
And a 62-inch waist.
You've
Thank
got
you,
to be
Keith.
kidding me. You've got to be kidding me.
Thank
were
you, Keto.
Mhm.
Some of the people here knew me when I was that size. I carried it well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was diagnosed with the beginnings of type 2 diabetes and sent to the diabetes center, and they explained I was going to be on insulin, and I was going to be this, and I was going to be that, and I was going to be that. And I just looked at it and said, no, there's a better way. There has to be a better way.
Your transformation is an inspiration.
And I found a doctor in Canada who did various abdominal surgeries, and he noticed that people who had bariatric surgery, where they go in and they just cut out fat, when they 6 weeks later, when they were kind of released, they had to stop taking insulin because their diabetes was gone. Cutting out fat cures diabetes. This makes no sense.
Yours type 2 diabetes.
Yeah, type 2. Not type 1, type 2. They hadn't touched the pancreas, hadn't done anything that should have had this effect. And most of the people just, well, that happens. Well, now wait a minute. And he found some people and put them on severe diets and ketosis diet, where you basically don't eat any carbs, and their body fat went down. So did their A1C. And so I put myself on a ketosis diet, lost 100 pounds. My A1C went from 7.3 down to 5.1. Diabetes center people won't talk to me anymore. You can't do that. Give me your arm. I want to do another blood test. This isn't possible. The initial results were wrong. Yeah. Anyway, Dean.
No, Stan, go ahead.
No, you still had your hand up. Stan.
I do. I'm deferring to Stan because I've talked a lot.
I didn't know if I heard you correctly. Did you say something about not eating carrots?
Carbs.
Oh, cards.
There's
Carb. I can't even. Carbohydrates.
carbohydrates.
Yes. But that also includes not eating carrots.
in everything in moderation. But ... Yeah. So and probably some of it is genetic. I don't even know. And I've been to my medical provider, God knows how many times. I don't even know what an A1C is, but I see it all over TV.
It's a measure. It's a measure of
I understand
sugar.
it's for
Okay.
pre-diabetics, and but I
No.
don't have one. Well,
Everybody has an A1C.
but I mean
It's
A1C
a measure.
when they mention it to you, and
Yeah.
they have never, ever, ever mentioned my A1C. I discovered Atkins in 1972
Mhm.
and have been on low carb for that many years. Do the math.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone has an A1C. It's just a measure you can do of your blood, and for most people, it doesn't matter. It's when it gets out of control. Then
Yep. I get my carbs. My current favorite breakfast is huevos rancheros, which is 2 eggs with salsa and sour cream. And whoops, I forgot the tortillas. Oh well, shoot me. But I get my fiber, and there's other ways to get fiber.
Yep. Nobody else has their hand up. Okay. The next exercise on the list is 6 minutes long. Attia talks about the use of VO2 max. This is a way. VO2 max is basically the most oxygen your blood can carry around. If it's not, your blood isn't carrying oxygen around, you might as well stop breathing, because that's how oxygen gets to the rest of your body.
And I hated to be late. And I was sprinting, and then I thought I was having a heart attack. I recovered. And then later, I told my supervisor, I said, I think I'm going to drive myself to the ER. It's not busy tonight, and yada, yada. Drove down there. And anyway, the next day, I ended up on the treadmill with the oxygen mask, all that rigmarole for a stress test. And I thought I was acing it, Oh, can you go higher, more incline, 3%? Yeah. You want to speed up the speed? Yeah. And I thought I'd aced it. And then they flop you down on a bench. They do an ultrasound. And I said, oh, piece of cake. I recovered my breath and all that. And then they said, go sit over there on the group W bench. And a young cardiologist came down and put her hand on my middle thigh and said, you're going to need to be looked at. I go, really? Because it surprised the heck out of me. I thought, oh, this is, yeah. Anyway, ended up with getting a stent put in, which literally saved my life, changed my life for decades. But anyway, yeah, the whole VO2 thing, the answer is you go out and spend a lot of money, and that's how you get your VO2 max.
Yeah. Warren?
Yeah, it was interesting. I never looked at. I've been using an Apple Watch for quite a while, and I looked at it, the VO2 max. I did have to search for it on my phone, and I'm ridiculously low, and it makes a lot of sense for my kind of activity. So it's a pretty good indicator, even though it can be rough indicator. It's good enough for me to know what I'm doing or not doing.
And real quick, what model Apple Watch do you have? Because
it's a 9.
A 9.
I've had it for several years.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had a note to here at 11:30. We should start these two. The first one is several heads talking about the biggest things they've learned in the last 5 years of doing this. But let's skip down to the bottom one, Chatterjee's 5-day reset. This is how to move from being a couch potato to being an ambulatory human.
I'm working on that right now as I recover from my back.
So am I. When we finish this, we can come back to the biggest lessons.
Anyone else want their hand up? So, yeah, screen that's a big thing with me. I will sometimes get up in the morning and then I want to grab for my phone because I want to see what the weather in Minneapolis is or whatever. I go, where's my phone? Oh, well, you've been up for 2 hours. It's still next to the bed, as in you're not connected. I am connected because I listen to old-timey radio, and that's my sleeping pill. And Jack Benny and whatever will put me to sleep. There is also a feedback loop in this. In other words, so I was trying to recover from this back injury, right? As I started to, it snowballed, right? Oh, you're getting out of bed much more easily this morning. And then I would just carry that and still am throughout the day. So you can create your own feedback loop. And stress is probably one of the most important. I mean, that's great, but stress is the overriding factor. And I try to practice a lot of what that brilliant guy was saying. I get up in the morning. I do not watch CBS Morning My World in 90 Seconds because I don't want to see my world in 90 seconds at 7 a.m. Sorry. I will watch something happy, Nova or happy and instructive that makes me feel good. So, yeah. Anyway, come on. Somebody's got a comment. No?
Well, we got 5 minutes left, supposedly.
Do we have a video?
Oh, we have lots of videos yet.
Yeah.
The first 6 videos on the list, or 5 videos, I forget how many there were, we didn't do anything with.
What about the one that the dangers of getting old and dying? I'd love to see that.
The risk of aging,
Yeah.
I think we skipped that one too.
Yep.
The Stan, it's the, oh good Lord. Do a search on that for risks of aging, and there's a, here, well, you can all go to the page and see this list on Meetup of all of the things that I didn't show. And if you want to spend 2 hours or two, if you do all the first 5, I think total 9 or 10 hours of various talking heads talking about all this. Dr. One of them, that wasn't the 5th one. It's a half an hour. Dr. Chatterjee he's a British doctor, and he's had it with British medicine and American medicine. He goes on a rant about how the bureaucrats have taken over and think that everything in the world can be cured with pills, and blah blah.
I love a good rant.
It's a wonderful rant.
Yeah.
But it's a half an hour, which maybe part of the reason it's so good is he wasn't interrupted by someone saying, "You got to stop." The risks of aging is 10 minutes. The biggest lessons of 5 years is 10 minutes. Whichever, Stan, I think the biggest lessons one is probably more important, but Anyway,
I'm sorry, I dropped my file. Which one are you wanting me to do?
um,
The biggest lesson?
yeah, let's do that one.
And it's where? How far down?
Just hold on just a minute. Copy.
Oh, I see it. I got it.
No, where did that come from? Okay, you see it. I'm gonna.
Before you go get into that, do you want to tell us
One of
what
these
you're going
friends
to
can
do
order
next
whatever
week,
she
Stan?
wants.
Pardon?
I'm sorry.
Stan, before you get into that, do you want to tell us what you're going to do next week?
Yeah, we're going to watch a video on how to live a interesting life. Basically, it's I actually have 3 videos on the dock. The first one's going to be on how to live an interesting life, or how to live something that's important, or how to do something that's important in your life. And then there's another one on that's a little bit. They're kind of not the same, but they're kind of in the. I guess in my mind, they seem to have a lot of interesting nuances that are kind of involved in the same scenario. But yeah, they how to. I'm trying to remember the title exactly. I don't have it in front of me, but it's how to live a life that has purpose and meaning for you, and basically in your career, I think.
Career. Okay, my career is being retired, and I'll tell you how to live whatever you said is get invited by Stanley to the MNF, and also play trivia on Sunday nights with your friends in Minnesota at all.
Yeah, that's a good ad.
Yep.
Okay, I've got an ad coming up here. I got to turn off my volume.
I'm waiting for somebody to raise their hand. So I'll give you anecdotal, or as I call it, experiential. Experiential. Somebody pronounce that for me. Yeah, I've always had balance problems. It's a congenital inner ear thing. And what I used to do after I get out of the shower in the morning or the afternoon when I worked later, was to get out of the tub, shower, dry my feet, have my shoes and socks staged in the bathroom, and put on my socks one at a time and my shoes and lace them up standing on one leg. And it was just something that I thought I should be able to do, right? Yeah. And sometimes I would do it with my eyes closed. Well, sometimes at 40, 50, I had to grab the towel rack or whatever. But yeah, now this stuff so hits home. And can I recommend a book? Because you guys
Sure.
love to recommend books. So
Sure.
Atkins changed my life. You know, when I came back from Vietnam at 135, said, this ain't good. My 30-inch, 29-inch pants are falling down, you know. And I said, I need to, you know, and so, you know, I was putting on weight, and then suddenly I wouldn't fit. Actually, then I was wearing 30s or 31s. Suddenly 32s didn't fit. And I said, okay, what's going on here? And I think my sister, no, somebody turned me on to Atkins. And I did into ketosis, did the whole thing. And for me, it was a life changer. Now, the caveat is that uh, Atkins is a type O, which is a blood type that's been around in humans since before humans were humans. It's the Homo erectus and Homo crawling around in trees blood type. The other ones came about much, much later as an adaptation to agricultural, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, well, it works great for me. I recommended it to my family. It didn't work well for all of them because some of them were A's, some of them were B's, some of them were ABs. And then my sister found Dr. Diadamo, D apostrophe Adamo. And the book is, and I've probably bought 8, 10 copies of it and mailed it to my family. And it is called Dr. Diadamo, Eat Right for Your Type. It's a just very 1 out of 5, whatever it is, but it works for me. And you see, if the same 2 people go on a low carb, one will thrive and one will not. So Andrea, my niece, what's your blood type? Oh, because of my dad, I'm no longer a petty type O. She was a whatever, and what worked for her was roughly trying to follow the diet for her blood type, emphasizing the good foods, de-emphasizing the bad foods, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm sure it's still in print. Dr. Diadamo, just Google "Eat Right for Your Type." It is, I would say, 80% beneficial to anyone who reads that book and at least tries to adhere to that. I break the rules, but rules are made to be broken.
Eric?
Yeah, thanks for doing this, Tommy. Remotivating me, which I was not doing enough on the exercise and balance. I sort of know what I should do. But
exercise is hard.
Oh, and the balance thing is a handy. I have two extra handicaps, because when I retired at 60, I was doing walking a couple of miles every night. And then at 2 a.m. one night, I suddenly realized that my friend Jim Rogers, he's known as the Indiana Jones of the investment world. I got to know him when he was hawking his book here in Minneapolis, and he was going to be interviewed on CNBC. And I was about a half mile from home at 2 a.m. So I decided to jog home. It was early March, and then I just hit this little patch of black ice and down really hard on my back on York Avenue. And I was able to hobble home, but I just didn't do anything. And basically, I didn't know. I had a compression fracture in the ears, and it just got worse and worse. And then finally, we had to go to a 5.5 hour triple spinal fusion. And when I was 78, I was like, yeah. When I was 78, so I was 82, or 75. Anyway, a few years ago, and then even it did a great job on the best in the Twin Cities. It did if it's getting worse, you're going to end up walking less and sitting more until you're in a wheelchair in a couple of. So I did it, and because there's a lot of bad side effects that can happen. So anyway, but even in spite of that, he did, I think, his best possible job. But still got the nerve feeding from like a balance problem, but different than Dean's, because the nerve feeding my left calf, it's partially pinched off still in my lumbar region. So it's some atrophy there, and really a weak left calf and foot, and so it's a real balance problem. I can't stand on that foot for more than a couple of seconds, and I get more worried about it. I like to hike with people, but it's getting risky now in the Minnesota winter. It's 82, so I got to really work on that balance stuff. And I'm remotivated now, but I really stay hydrated. I guess the last guy said it. Nobody ever told me that. I just assumed that if you drink when you're thirsty, you'll be okay. But it's not. When you get older, your feedback mechanism sensor deteriorates, and you don't necessarily feel thirsty when you need to drink. Just try to drink at least a glass or mug or whatever of water in the morning when you get up, and then maybe a couple more times during the day. And
drink before you get before you thirsty. That's one to drink.
Yeah, drink before you get thirsty.
I passed out. And they got the call. I thought I had a stroke, in the bathroom. I passed out, and he called it vasovagal syncope or something at the emergency room, and I was scared. But they said that was just it, and I dehydrated, and I never had any problem. Never fainted since. And
Okay, Dean,
I'll defer to Sam.
Dan.
Is there any way that I can get my VO2 max without buying a watch? Can I go to the VA? I do my medical at the VA. Do they have the numbers and all of that to just tell me what my VO2?
The only one hooked
you
up
don't-
with the VA here, I think. But
The watches only provide estimates. Some of the watches are better estimates than others, but yeah,
I don't think
there are other ways of measuring it, but I don't know what they are.
well,
I mean,
one way is to have a near heart attack and then go in and they will do one for you.
Well, he actually was there on the treadmill, and they were
Yeah.
making him want to die for doing it. But
Yeah,
and that's how they got his measurement.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, I get a lot of numbers from my
No.
from my medical care at the VA. My
Mhm.
physicals, I get my blood test, I get all of these numbers. VO2 max
Yeah.
doesn't show up on any of those.
No.
Are you sure?
It's-
I mean, download your medical records, all 526 pages, like I did, and then do a search in Adobe for VO2, and maybe
It's not-
not.
ask
Probably.
AI, but you try to get a doctor to prescribe it. Yeah.
Yep.
It's unlikely to be there because it is a specific activity test.
Right.
It is not a blood test.
No.
It measures. You can get an approximation by measuring your blood, but it's only an approximation, and it's varies according to a whole lot of things.
You
So
can fly to Boston and spend $1,000, or
Well,
I mean,
it sounds to me, the analogy I have in my head about VO2, it's like miles per hour. It's like oxygen per minute or something, or millisecond.
it is how
Mhm.
fast your muscles can utilize oxygen from your blood as you exercise.
So you've got this filter called your body, and you've got oxygen coming from your lungs, and you've got the muscle. The mouth is the starting point, and the muscle is the ending point, and the velocity of oxygen through that system is your VO2.
Right. They're
No,
going
it's
to
the
measure
volume.
you. They're going to measure you at 3 miles per hour or kilometers or whatever, and then they're going to speed up the ramp, and it's all going to go into a supercomputer. And
it's measuring the volume of oxygen consumed. If you took an automobile engine and you measured the amount of oxygen going into the carburetor,
Okay.
Right.
is what you are measuring.
right.
And there isn't really any proxy for it. That there have been a lot of attempts to find proxies for it, but the thing with the mask is really does it, because there are all sorts of factors involved in this.
Yep.
I mean, it sounds simple, but it's actually complicated. But measuring all sorts of processes in your body help and interfere with the consumption of oxygen.
Yep.
And
I do have a CPAP. I wonder if there's a CPAP indication that measures that.
I doubt it.
I don't think so. It might.
You'd have to be looking at the amount of oxygen that's absorbed out of the CPAP. You'd have
Right.
to measure before
Yeah.
and after. And so probably not.
And if you have a CPAP, I'm already a little concerned.
No.
And most of my friends, well, I mean, some people need them. It's probably a genetic
Dean
thing.
has a misconception about CPAPs that you have to be heavy with your gut over your belt. That isn't true.
I
I've
know
used
that.
one for 10 years.
I have many relatively fit senior friends who need a CPAP, if they want to sleep in the same bed or even in the same room with
Yeah.
their wife. Yep.
No, that isn't either. That's not it either. It's not a social problem.
Oh, it
And
is for many, many, many couples.
It becomes a social problem if one of them is on a CPAP and the other isn't.
Correct.
But it's not directly. There are things involved with it. I don't. The watches produce estimates by looking at the color of the blood going under the watch.
Right.
Some of the estimates are more closely aligned to real testing than others. Most of the watches, if you change your fitness level so that your VO2 max goes up, will show that you have improved. They will not duplicate the test. It's just not going to happen. Different as we learn more and more about this, and we learn more and more about how weight and height and the length of your legs and a bunch of other things go into this, the estimates can get closer and closer and closer. Like I forget which is the one he thought was the closest. The Tsunoto. You put more and more. If you have short legs versus long legs, then your body works a little differently. If you have a very long back, like I have, and very big lungs, like I have,
Me too.
It's going to work somewhat differently.
Yep.
And while it is nice to know what the absolute value is of your VO2 max, it is more important to know that your VO2 max is going up. And if you're dealing with one of the estimators, they're all going to show that over a period of time. It's not something that's going to happen over a day, but over a month of exercise. They all should indicate that it has improved. Changing your VO2 max is hard. I would say it's like strengthening the muscles that wiggle your hairs.
Yeah, or your ears. I can't do that.
It is a whole body measurement. But instead of something static like your weight, it's a measure of the circulation in your bloodstream.
Well, I'll just put that in my notes to talk about next time I'm at the VA to see what kind of.
They might be able to do one for you.
They have the capability to do one, and if you're sweet talk them, maybe they will.
Yeah, you can certainly ask. All they can do is say no.
Yeah.
If you keep asking, they might finally give you one just to make you stop asking.
Kind of like going to a bar when you're in your 20s and 30s. Yeah. All she can do is say no.
Yeah.
I'll give you anecdotal because Tom, you're long waisted, they call it, right? I have lungs from hell. I have swimmer's lungs. I think my record is 4.5 minutes holding my breath, half of an Olympic-sized pool swimming underwater. But that's just a genetic thing. I have short legs and long lungs. And when I was smoking 2.5, 3 packs a day, I go to the doctor and he go, okay, put one of those breathalyzers. I still have one. And I peaked the freaking thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, all right, that makes you feel good. I go, not really. He said, you should still quit smoking. It's not affecting your lungs yet, but it will.
Yeah, I managed. It took me 20 years to quit smoking, but I'm so glad I did, and it was long ago.
Yep. I quit my dad quit when he was, I think, 50 and lived to be 99. And my goal was, and I quit several times after Vietnam and all that, smoked a pipe and did everything. And well, I should have subtracted 10 from that if I wanted to live to be 99, because that was just my dad. He had the same waist when he went into his 80s, his 31-inch waist, as he did when he graduated from high school. A lot of that is genetic, no doubt.
Yeah.
I have an observation about drinking water, partially because my teeth are sensitive. I can drink water faster and get a larger volume of water if I drink it warm to tap
One
water.
shouldn't drink cold water. And once one got used to drinking 90-degree water out of a plastic canteen in Vietnam, room temperature water is like ice water to me.
Yeah. And I don't drink coffee anymore. I used to. And I find that I used to have an addiction to Swiss Miss. I'm kind of a chocolate guy.
Uh-oh.
And
Yummy, yummy.
I'll just get a nice I just draw some hot water out of the tap with a Snickers bar and kind of make a combination with that.
A Snickers bar?
That's my dessert.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
When I was working, I would do a half a Snickers bar at least every night for energy. But when you're working and burning those calories off, makes a big difference. But yeah, hydrating. I've always been thirsty.
I think there's an antioxidant in chocolate.
There are some very beneficial things. One of which is simulating a climax in females. Chocolate is there's a chemical aphrodisiac, and yeah, and men have some of that too. Also, I mean, a good dark chocolate like 90, 95, 85, whatever you can. That is not
Yummy, yummy, yummy.
Yummy, yummy, yummy.
Yeah, I think that the dopamine. I heard some doctor. It might have been Huberman or another guy by the name of Matthew Walker. I think his name is Matthew Walker, who's the sleep guy. And I think there's a Huberman Matt Walker YouTube, but he said something about dopamine levels, and sex has a dopamine level, and chocolate is about halfway at that level.
Right, which is not a bad approximation at my age. Yep.
Anyway, thank you for the
caffeine. No, thank you. Caffeine, real quick. When I went in and before I got my pacemaker, right, which is my own fault, probably. Maybe not. I don't know. But so two cardiologists came in and yada yada yada. And do you drink coffee or use caffeine? I said, actually, I have retired my Keurig, and for the most part, and I sort of kind of got off coffee in the morning. And I said, I might have a cup a day. And two of them said, you need 3 to 4 cups a day. It is because your pacemaker battery will last longer. That's what he told me.
Who's sharing?
I don't know.
The ageless brain. Somebody.
Is that Eric? Is that you?
No, not that I know of.
No, that's me.
Oh, blow it up, man. Blow it up. Make it big so I can read it.
You're welcome to announce this when you're going to do it.
It's in the chat also. You can
All right.
copy it out of the chat if you want it.
Well, let me make sure I save the chat right now, even as we speak. How do I do that?
Three dots.
Three dots. Called The End of Alzheimer's. And this is his recommendation after he's been treating people for neurodegenerative diseases for about the last 5 years. And they used to say that they were never going to be able to do anything for Alzheimer's and some of the other neurodegenerative diseases, and that it was just old age. At this point, it's fairly clear that it's old doctors' training. They can, in fact, slow down and in some cases reverse neurodegenerative disease. It's not old age. It's diet and exercise.
Yep.
And the last chapter is worth reading. You can get it from the library if you get on the list, or you can buy a Kindle copy for less than $20. But it's worth knowing that medicine is in the process of changing what they think they knew about neurodegenerative diseases.
And to me, that is a huge, as I get older, a huge game changer. Because there are people that get Alzheimer's at 49, 50, 51. That's genetic. If they can delay that by 5, 10 years, fantastic.
My Uncle Woody was just at a thing in Florida to inaugurate some new Marine Corps base or something. And at 101, his wit seems to be as fast and as sharp as it ever was.
Yep. That
Go
was
Marines.
my dad. At 99, he was deaf and blind and on the internet 4 hours a day. Yeah. I don't know how he did it. I mean, he had no cognitive degeneration.
Part of all this, in one of them, they talk about he had 4 or 5 pillars of long life. And one of them was that when you were an adolescent, that you were very physically trained. Because when you're an adolescent, your body is most able to build muscle tissue. And you get an underlying base of muscle that degrades with age. But since you started with a mountain, even though it degrades, it's still more than people who started with a hill. If you lose half of it, you're still way above the people who lost half of their hill. So thank you, Marine Corps.
I try to thank the Marine Corps every day of my life.
Eric
has his hand up,
but he left.
But he left.
Oh, I was just going to say that's another. I want to make yet another plug. Why understanding the human brain. This is another, maybe the biggest reason for the national world priority to be finishing understanding human brains. Is the huge burden of as people get older, but the amount of senility and Alzheimer's just skyrocketing. It's just going to be it's a crushing, not only a personal misery, but a crushing economic burden to all the modern
financially crushing. Yep.
And among other things, and also in the process, if we model AI after our own brains and maybe enhance it, then at least we have a fighting chance of understanding it, which we don't now with these goddamn LLMs, and therefore containing its risks.